And today we're going to discuss something in the realms of mental health, aftercare, and also wellness. And it has to do with many people having questions in regards to healing, especially when it comes to emotional, psychological, um, and even loss and grief. How does one process that, and how does one finally heal? And I just had an experience the other day, or well, yesterday. And one thing that I realized is that when you spend years studying psychology, human development, and trauma, something powerful definitely happens to mental health professionals. It's something that I have been experiencing myself. And it's because we spend years and years building case studies on other people. And in those case studies, we analyze their environments, their social networks, and their survival mechanisms. And then one day something happens to us, right? The mirror all of a sudden completely turns on us, essentially. And all of the theories, all of the neuroplasticity that we read in textbooks, it suddenly integrates internally. And then we are forced to sit across from ourselves and deliver the hardest truths to ourselves about our own lives. So that is what happened to me recently. For years, I have operated under a persistent narrative, and it's a victimhood narrative where I always felt like I was stuck or I didn't have enough time. It always felt like something was holding me back. And I was consistently in a space where I was anticipating things to fall apart for me. And in that same breath, I was telling myself, what if I burn out through this course and transition in my life? What if my neurodivergence gets in the way? Or what if I can't sustain the things that I'm building? And what I began to realize is that when you are stuck in chronic trauma and surviving chronic trauma or domestic abuse, your body holds that memory deep in its nervous system. And your amygdala stays hyperactive, and it's always scanning for threats. And then you finally move into a safe environment with enriching soil, a supportive system, whether it is a partner or family, and real peace. Yet your brain, once you find that space, that safe environment, your brain doesn't automatically update. To a brain that is wired exclusively for survival, what I've come to understand is that unfamiliar peace begins to feel like a trap. So when people ask, how do I heal from this? How do I get on from this? How do I let go? The truth is that healing happens in layers. First, you process your childhood, then the relational trauma, and then the trauma that takes place whether in emerging adulthood, mid-adulthood, or even closer to your older years. For me, I've spent nearly 7 years in that incremental unfolding, slowly peeling layer after valid layer back. And then it came to me last night. that final puzzle piece, that final layer fell off. And what I realized is that when there is no more historical ghosts left to blame, there's no more past abusers to point the fingers at, and no more active threat in the room, you are forced to look at that final piece, to look at that final mirror, that final reflection. And what is staring back at you is yourself. And the truth of the matter is that I'm now understanding why sometimes we may build narratives as a way to manage the reality of things. And it's because once that final layer falls off, it's heartbreaking. What I realized in that moment of not disappointment, but I realized that the environment had changed. But I was still treating safe grounds as if it was still toxic soil. And I was purposely keeping myself in the shadow of a cocoon because my choices at the moment were driven by fear of stepping back out into the light again. And once there's a realization that you have become the bottleneck in your own life, that story is not a romantic one. It brings a lot of grief, and mainly for time that has been lost. So if you are someone who has built a cocoon to protect yourself in the storm, you also have the power to break it open now, because that storm has passed. The soil is ready for you. The environment is safe. You have permission to put down the armor and to honor the peace you've earned and allow yourself to finally fly. Thank you for listening. Stay grounded, and I'll catch you on the next field.